All right, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the internal guts of the SkyPanel, some things that you actually need to be aware of that are kind of crucial. Now, number one, when you pull this thing out of the box, the speaker wire right here is not going to be connected. So you're going to have to actually connect that. As you can see, we have the battery that comes right here, and then there's a little square block right here that the actual speaker connects into. Now, the other thing is you can take this in and out really easy, but there's a little tab right here you need to be careful with. So you got to make sure that you kind of release that tab when you go to pull it out. You just don't want to yank it out because you could pull the wires out. So you're going to have to remember to connect those speaker wires there. Now there's also another little thing right here that I want you to be aware of. There's a little ribbon right here. It's a little brown ribbon that goes right here. This is actually the communication cable to the touch screen, okay? So your head tech knows about this, but sometimes these actually get a little bit loose and you know they might need to be adjusted. So if your screen is not responding, you might want to look at this and see if it's been pulled out or jarred a little bit. There's a little black latch right here. You just lift it up, you can pull that in and out, and then you can push it back in, push this black tab back down, and it should fold to where it's flat. So that's just kind of something, you probably won't have to do that, but that's something you'll probably want to be familiar with. Also, we do have a battery in here. This is a backup battery. It only lasts about 4 to 6 hours, and you're going to have to connect that. It's just going to slide in. There's a little square block right here that it actually slides into to connect the battery. Okay. Now, right here we have our terminal block right here. And there are certain things that these terminals do, but the two terminals that you're going to use the most is the power terminal. Okay, this is 12 volt DC. So you're going to have a negative and you're going to have a positive wire. For the most part, you're going to run your own wire. Okay, and you're probably going to use 18 gauge wire, and you're going to have black and you're going to have red. Okay, on the transformer, you have a positive screw and a negative screw. So you're going to put the red on the positive, black on the negative. Same thing here. This top one right here is the negative. This one is the positive. So the red would go in positive, black would go in negative, as long as those are the exact same wires that you've used on the transformer. Okay. Now, this little module over here is our network module. Okay. So it's kind of like a little teeny router inside the SkyPanel. It is actually screwed into it. You have some antennas that actually go over here to help with the range. So you just have to, you can double check these, make sure that those antennas are connected right. They'll come from the manufacturing that way. But this is your network module right here, okay? So what it is when you learn cameras in, it actually learns the cameras into the panel through this network module. And then when we connect the panel to the internet, then that's how we stream live video to the app or to the web browser, okay? If the customer didn't have internet, you could still learn cameras in through this network module, and you could view them from the panel only, and it wouldn't stream it to the app because the customer doesn't have internet. So just make note kind of where that network module is, okay? Now, you're going to have to install a cell unit every single time. We have Verizon cell units and we have AT&T cell units. It just depends on the area that you're working in, or if you're up in Canada, we have Rogers and we have TELUS, okay? Now, it's very crucial that you actually install these correctly. You cannot get them wrong, actually. As you can see, we have 2 holes right here, and then this little piece right here is where the antenna is going to go on, okay? So you have 2 screw holes right here, and what you're going to do is you're going to line up the 2 screw holes, okay? Once you get it lined up, you're just going to push it in. It's going to seat into kind of like a key, and it's going to fit in nice and snug. Now, when you open up a cell unit, what you're going to see is you're going to see 2 screws, okay, 2 screws and a washer, and you want to make sure that you use both screws to secure it down, and you also want to use the washer as well. These act as grounding units for the cell unit, so it's important that you use these screws and you actually use the washers as well. So what you're going to do is just get it started, Okay, once you get them started, you can just take your screwdriver and you can actually install those onto the cell unit. So you'll want to make sure that you use both screws and you use the washers. Okay, once you get that in, then you have your antenna, okay? This kind of looks like a tongue depressor, and then you have the little snap right here. This antenna has to go in the wall every single time, okay? You don't want to snap it on here. You don't want to lay it across any of these devices right here, the battery, anywhere close to this, because it'll take your cell unit signal strength down to 0 or 1 bar. So keep this outside of the panel. The majority of the time, you're actually going to stick it into the wall right here where your power wire comes out and just slide it down there. Some guys just make a little cut there and they just push it in there. This is just going to actually snap on right here. Okay, and you're good to go. Now, the reason why you don't want to put this on here is because you have this radio right here. You have a Z-Wave radio in here. You also have some antennas in here. Okay. If this thing gets, set right here or set right like this or anything like this, it can cause interference to your Z-Wave. It can cause interference to your cell unit and stuff like that. This must go into the wall. It's got to stay outside of that panel, okay? Majority of the time, it's going to go outside the wall. So if you have any questions, call your head tech or reference your head tech or anything like that. But this is kind of the insides of the Sky panel.